Hello everyone, this is Kubo, and this is my laundry talk. Okay. Hello, this show is for my language improvement, nothing else. So I will talk whatever I want to talk today. I am going to talk about knowing it all versus not knowing it at all. Okay? So what do I mean by that is, well, you can just take it literally, but I'm talking about as your personality. Specifically for myself, I had an era that I wanted to present myself someone like knowing it all. Someone like, I know what I'm doing, I know what I want to do, let's go, let's do that kind of personality. And I have shifted from that person to the person who has no idea what's going on and just, I don't want to say pretended, but I shifted my personality in that direction and I felt certain way and yada yada yada, right? So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Okay, so let me just start with recapping my life quickly. So until I would say graduating junior high, I was more kind of person that I know what I'm doing, I know where I want to go, let's do this, kind of leader, I know what's going on kind of type. And I would say I'm very proud of it, especially when I think, looking back now, the person who I was there was very energizing, had a great leadership. I genuinely respect myself around that time. Then around high school, my focus, especially not about this specific personality, but how I view my life, how I wanted to have fun, changed. I would say I felt so much recognition, I felt so much respect when I am leading the team, when I'm doing something like school principal. Those like activities energized me, and then that always felt add respect to myself. When I entered high school, I would say my focus became having fun and not without having too much responsibilities, if that makes any sense. So like one good example is that around that time I kind of stopped taking responsibilities, stopped taking role that needs to lead people. No more a captain of something, no more. And I don't know if that it's connected, but a desire to be best at studying or even just studying itself became less important for me. And that might affected my confidence as well, because I know I wasn't the smartest person in the classroom. Before, I was definitely one of the smartest kid. So that actually helped me feel like I am great. And yeah, so it's kind of childish for me to compare myself to all other people. However, that was what it was, and I definitely felt less confident in a classroom. But at the same time, I was having so much fun, like so much fun. So in that sense, I As much as I wonder what it was like if I kept studying, if I kept putting effort on taking those more responsibilities, how I would have been today. But at the same time, I recognize that I had great fun in high school, so I don't necessarily fully regret. Okay. So going back to the story of knowing it all and then not knowing, when I shifted my purpose or main target to be, how can I describe this? Like, I don't have to be known as someone smart, so I didn't have to know everything. And then to be entertaining, at that time it was naive of me, but I knew that I was not good at, I wasn't funny, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't want to discount myself. I think I sometimes can be ridiculous, but I really had a negative critique for myself that how funny I am naturally. I'm more like the response to the statement in a funny way kind of guy. Again, I can pursue different comedy, right? So that's fine, but around that time I was a little bit ashamed of it. So what I did was, to be more entertaining, I pretended not knowing anything at all. So let's just say where is Paris, and I said in around Italy kind of thing. And then I don't know if it's funny or if it translates funny, but we call it tennen in Japanese. So I wanted to become natural stupid. That sounds terrible, but you know, those people who has no idea what's going on and they're not stupid, but they just don't know what's going on. And then I really wanted to be like that. And now I think back, I still carry those momentum, I still carry those desire or habit not to think about stuff, and it is addictive. Meaning, it's just easier, right? In your life, if you don't have to grasp what's going on around you, if you don't have to think of anything while you are living, it's so much easier, it's so much more spontaneous, and you just can disregard whatever going on around your life. I definitely learned how to balance those things, but at the same time recognizing those, like knowing it all kind of attitude needs fair amount of effort you have to put on. So now I know the honey, I know the sweetness of not knowing at all. Sometimes I I definitely hang on to those momentum and like, oh, I don't want to know anything, and then I'm not thinking anything at all, and then just try to be lazy in the moment. Yeah, and then what's crazy about that, once you pretend that way, once you aim for that moment, and then you keep telling yourself like, oh, I don't know anything, I don't want to know anything, I don't put so much effort daily, blah blah blah. At the beginning, I definitely felt a little bit out of myself. But as you go, I don't know, I spent that way for 3 years in high school, and then I didn't know how to get back to regular momentum when I went to university, so I just kept going. So like I spent 5 years, 6 years in that state. Around after those long years, what happened is that you keep telling yourself in certain way, so you actually behave like that, and it becomes your nature. And that's the scary part of it for myself, because now I'm in the situation, and to be honest, you know, once you start working for a company, you need to think. You need to be able to analyze and see what the situation is, and you kind of not the passively but proactively needs to do stuff. To especially like if you don't care about promotion stuff, sure, you don't have to care about that. But if you want to be better, if you want to climb up the ladder, you need to think. You need to really pay attention to your work. But because I've been lazy about those perspectives, without like I've been ignoring those factors, right? Now I'm noticing that when I try to think that way, when I try to take on more responsibilities, A, I've got more resistance in my head. B, I find that very exhausting. And I guess originally it is exhausting, but if it's your normal state, if it's regular, that's your way of thinking, there's no other way around. And I'm not saying that you cannot change. I definitely think because I was able to shift to wanting to know it all to not knowing anything at all, I definitely do think that I can reverse those situations. At the same time though, I know the easiness of not knowing anything at all. I definitely feel extra exhaustion. Too bad though. I wish, I don't know, it's not too bad. But I just need to adjust myself in that way. Honestly though, it's good and bad. It's, you know how to relax yourself now, but you kind of recognize how exhausting it is to think all the time. And if there's easier way for you to live, I think it's human nature, or at least my nature, to be a little bit lazier. So I have to be careful about balancing those two different perspectives. And let me just extend a little bit of this concept, which is if you keep telling something to yourself, you become something. I strongly believe in this statement. I do think that for example, I thought, or I just kept telling myself that I'm not fast at thinking. And I genuinely thought I was not able to think very fast. But now I think about it, sure, maybe I'm not fast, but I'm not slow either. And furthermore, I was doing everything in English, my second language. And I seriously started taking those language courses when I'm 21, and it's been 6 years. Sure, it's not short time, but when it comes to language, that's not long time either. So I'm proud of where I'm at, and maybe I'm not as fast as native speakers, but I'm not slow again. And then so I need to stop thinking something negative for myself. I need to recognize some of the disadvantages, some of the shortcomings of myself. However, that does not determine who I am, and also I have to make sure or distinguish what's the true shortcoming and what's not actually my shortcoming. So I've learned that recently, so I'm kind of adjusting in my head like what I need to do, if that makes any sense. Anyway, I have to finish this a little bit later because I've gotta go to work. But thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day, afternoon, weekend, wherever you are. Bye now.